You're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Green Bay Packers content, created for the fans by the fans. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know whenever we go live. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Packers_access. Go Pack Go. Enjoy the show.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Going live just a little bit early. Me and Emilio got settled in. I'm sure Tim will be joining us shortly. He probably had prior plans, planning on us going live at 7 p.m. Central Time, but here we are. I know the chat's going to start filling up as people realize, oh, crap, they're live. So if you guys would, in the chat, we'll give them a second to get in here. We want to make sure we've got audio. Obviously, earlier this morning, StreamYard had a crashing issue with audio for anyone who was trying to stream, so it was definitely an issue. Chris in the house. Chris, do me a favor, buddy. Confirm that you can hear us speaking if you don't care. And in the meantime, let's give a quick shout out to the good folks over at Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. Wisconsin-based since '92, specializing in Packers tickets. They're Wisconsin's largest ticket source. Offices next to Lambeau and in Milwaukee. Click on the link in the video description to send you to their website, theticketking.com. You can register as a customer and go ahead and start shopping for your Packers tickets. Again, that is Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. I think Chris confirmed. Is that right, Emilio?
Yes, he did. Yep. So it's all good on his end.
Awesome.
Back
Good
to no more Kmart connection this morning, man. I was wondering what happened.
Bro, the chat was hilarious. We got a super chat because of it, too. They're like, hey, man, get better equipment. Here's $2. I don't know what $2 is going to get us, but we appreciate the
upgrade the cables or something.
Yeah, something. How was your day, Bob? You doing all right? Good,
yeah. Doing mulch job. Got 10 yards down. Got probably another 5 to 8 tomorrow, maybe, depending on how much the beds take up. You know, that's the commercials for you, though.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it, man. Let's do this. We're gonna hit on some pass rush tonight, guys. We went through and did our PFF evaluation of the entire roster. We were identifying needs that we need to focus on as we get into college playoff season here, and then obviously as soon as the season's over, we want to kind of give everybody a jump on what we think the needs could possibly be, barring any crazy re-signing period that the Packers may or may not have. So we're going to hit on pass rush on the second half of this show. But before we do, let's go ahead and take a walk across Twitter here. Had all kinds of good stuff come down the pike yesterday and today. So let's just kind of hit on it. Matt Schneidman had tweeted out, Tucker Kraft assesses where the Packers are with 4 games left in the season. Here was Tucker Kraft meeting with the media at his locker.
Yeah, I'd say last game was a check for us because we had guys playing with, myself included, playing with aggression, but not necessarily, the best technique. There's a few times where I went in full head of steam trying to hit a guy, but my angles were off and I wasn't staying connected in my block, and that's a difference between tackle on line of scrimmage versus a 6-8 explosive play. So, going forward, I think we're going to just take each game, as I say all the time, each game, one game at a time, one play at a time. And in this next, storm of games, we're going to be locked in. We're going to be energized. We're going to bring that juice. We're going to be locked into our technique, our assignment, our alignment. If we win the line of scrimmage, we win each game. So
it's so cool, man, seeing a young player as dynamic as Tucker Kraft is, stepping back. Listen, he's having, obviously it's just a second year in the league, but he's having a career year, right? We're going to continue to see that bar raise. Last I heard, he was second in the league, I think, amongst tight ends and touchdown catches. He was leading the league and yak yards over expected. And here you hear him saying, you know what, we need to step back and really focus on our technique. It's pretty darn cool when you hear a young player get that fired up over something, technical.
Yeah. No, exactly. And my thought was, hey, you have a tight end doing that. You have Jordan doing it. You have Matt doing it. You have the coaches doing it. But we need, it takes everyone to keep that enthusiasm throughout the locker room. I mean, you get there in the morning, you're doing your pre-stuff. Who do you see in the training room? Your buddy that you got one handshake with. Then you go over here. We're going into film room. You're with your tight end group. Everyone wants to eat in that group. Love that. all right, we're going out to team, bring the energy to the O-line who you haven't seen in an hour or two. Like all that's going to add up. And I do think that, being focused, having, maybe one in each area or a couple on the offense, couple on the defense, just to keep everyone in check. Sometimes your mind does slip a little. You're worried about that one bad play. You get your head stuck in a slump or something, and we just want to avoid that. Let's keep everybody positive, keep moving forward, because, those 4 losses are gone, right? They happened. It was against the best teams in the NFC. So it's nothing against us. We just need to keep working to get better to overcome that hump.
Yeah. Definitely, man. Tucker, I think he's going to be a dynamic player moving forward. He's only going to get better. The question is, can he stay healthy? And he's got to learn how to stay healthy and not take so many of those shots. You guys know last year the issue was he kept trying to hurdle everybody. Well, this last game, obviously, he had to hurdle Kirby Joseph because Kirby Joseph was trying to tear his freaking ACL.
Right.
So you just want to see him protect himself a little bit more, right? We know he's built like a Mack truck, but gotta play the long game for sure. Cannonball John in the house says, Ethan, I see the PTA IT department got you back up. That's right. They sure did.
See?
It's this guy right here. That's the
Crane was running up the hill. You should have seen him just pulling a cable trying to get better service.
Yeah. I just said, you know what? Let's just steal the neighbor's Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Climb the tree.
No, it was a fiasco though. Seriously. Went to Twitter within 30 seconds, seeing everybody complaining about StreamYard. I was like, okay, it's not us. We're good. All right. As long as it ain't us. Drew D in the house said, by trading Preston, we freed up a lot of money to make a move in the off season. We really did. I'll tell you this though, man, as I pulled earlier today, I think I got the screen grab right here. We did free up money with Preston. There's no two ways about it. Look at this pressure percentage though. Preston Smith, I have to drop down that logo. Bang. Preston Smith sitting at 16.9% on the Steelers at quarterback pressure percent. To put that in perspective, that's 3% higher than Rashawn Gary, who leads the guy nearest to him by 3%. So Preston Smith, he's starting strong with Pittsburgh. There's no doubt about it. But we definitely freed up money. And again, we're getting LV in these much needed reps as well. Right. And by the end of the show, I think people are going to feel a lot better about Lucas Van Ness. We did some digging earlier today. You guys know we've hit on PFF. And again, what I like to do is cross-check that with other key statistics and kind of get an idea of, okay, is the PFF grade truly reflective of the results we're seeing on the field and vice versa? And we'll dive into all that. Let's see what else we got here.
And all I wanted to say to that was we also traded away our best corner. So that's another issue, man. When we dropped Preston, man, he was locked down.
That's right.
We lost that. A little pressure, a little corner play.
Definitely. Biz 1987 in the chat says, time for the Packers to refocus, to take care of business of who's in front of them. If they do that, they get another shot. Yeah, just gotta beat the team in front of you every week, no doubt.
Right.
Respect Oranges. The last time I came this Amelia, I'm gonna kill you.
I thought you said you wanted me to read them.
Right, go ahead, Emilio. Read that one.
Respect Oranges was just talking about how we had gone early on the show. We got here a little early, fired up the engine a little early. He said the last time I came this early, she was very disappointed. So in that aspect, respect Oranges. It's true.
Hey, we appreciate your honesty there. Respect Oranges. You're a good man. Kinda. Drew D in the chat. Packers still have a 97% chance to make the playoffs, so the loss didn't hurt our percentage at all. Really cool because we looked at with the playoff simulator, worst case scenario, what would happen. Nothing changed, but that's digging a little deeper what Drew's done here. 97% chance, obviously.
Right. That's what 32 per
65%. 65%. That's what
it's 32%.
Very, very.
That's not a bad number right there. We'll take 97.
Very
compared
true.
to last year when we were happy that we got our fourth win.
Mm-hmm. Ron Samuel in the chat said, what is LVM pressure percentage since Preston was traded? I don't know that exact number. Someone tweeted out that there was like a combination of games. One of those games, he was over 20% pressure rate, which is just wild, right? So you're starting to see some of the upside. And again, we're going to hit on the pressure percentage here in a minute as we kind of dive into the pass rush and just how effective it's been. Pretty impressive. Really, when you look at it as a whole and everything that we talked about, just going off of strictly PFF, I feel a lot better about the edge room now after today and still feel exactly the same on that 3 tech. We need to go get a 3 tech as soon as possible for sure. So let's go back to Twitter real quick. A couple other things before we get into the pass rush talk. Wes Hockowitz had tweeted out, LaFleur says Jordan Love had an outstanding game for the Lions, cites his throw to Watson against Campbell's inside blitz. Quote, the more he plays, the better he gets. I think his mechanics have improved the last few weeks. We talked about that. The shot to Watson down the sideline, man, great platform, quick release, everything just looked freaking textbook. So It does feel like Jordan's really starting to amp up here, Emilio.
Right. And the hotter that Josh Jacobs gets, the easier it makes it on Jordan's life. And I think all that kind of just starts rolling downhill. You know, you weren't able to feed Reed this past game, but Christian Watson stepped up even after the fumble, tried to make up for his, amend the wrongs and everything. And I think he did, right? It happens. Yeah, he was flailing around. He tried to hop over the dude. It didn't work. Next time, I'm sure that's not going to happen. But yeah, I think that Jordan Love has definitely started to heat up. Perfect time too.
Yeah. Respect Oranges says Biz 1987 says Respect Oranges. This is a family show, sir.
That's true.
So yeah, we're gonna have to hit you with one of these if you keep that up. You hear me? Let's see where it's at here. I know it's in here somewhere.
Sit your butt outside.
Go. All right. Straighten up. Respect Oranges. Matt Schneidman to tweet out injury updates from Matt LaFleur. Javon Bullard with the ankle is week to week. Kind of surprised me, Emilio. Dude was on crutches in the locker room, right? So that's good news. Romeo Dobbs and Evan Williams still in concussion protocol. That doesn't surprise me, seeing that we've got a long week here, right? Or we had a long week, rather. Dontavion Wicks is fine, so he's good to go. Anything you want to add to that? Obviously, with Javon Bullard, when you heard he was on crutches in the locker room, you immediately think at least IR. Sounds like we dodged a bullet there, man.
Yeah, and that's crutches. What he had a boot on too, so I think that's we're lucky that it wasn't something worse. I wouldn't plan to see him until probably after the Saints game. Give him this Sunday, give him next pass to next Monday, and then go from there just to play it safe. I mean, if we're going to put him out there, we don't want to put him out there 60 or 70% just because we need a guy. I mean, we can get a couple more reps for Zane, or we can do something else. Run more base, bring out another back, or all that. So I'm not mad at that. Romeo, I'm a little worried. I just hope he's all right. I want him to get out of there. I know he got kind of popped, and same with Wicks. Happy he's all right. He took a lick.
Yeah. And so as far as Javon Bullard, again, his coverage has been very, very suspect this year. But man, we continue to see him on tape in the running game. The Quay Walker run stop. I can't remember if that was a fourth down. I think it was a fourth down run. Yeah. So it was like fourth and short. They were going for it. Quay Walker gets the stop, gets the tackle. But man, the way Javon Bullard, you guys have heard me say it feels like 100 times this week. The way he shot the gap, knew to play with leverage outside to force the back in towards the teeth of the defense. How many times we would have seen someone like Darnell Savage shoot to the inside, give him the outside, and it's a first down, right? There's so much to that many people don't talk about, and it took me forever to learn that about the game, is playing the right shoulder, playing the correct shoulder, I should say, of the ball carrier, knowing where your help is just absolutely huge. So it's cool that as a young player, he's got that kind of pursuit awareness.
Exactly. Got to get your head to the outside, try to cut off anything wide. Your help's always inside, always looking to funnel. And thinking about Javon, what if it's something where, we asked him to play safety, then we asked him right away to learn how to play nickel. Now he's playing nickel, kind of likes it, but then let's pick one thing to get him better at. And I think that maybe they chose something that he's already pretty decent at. It's run and tackling. Let's keep him good at that. We'll start chipping away at his coverage, whatever we need to do to fix his coverage things. And it's, it's just, how Rodgers used to pick one thing in the offseason to work on. Maybe they're just trying to pick one thing this season. Dudes, he just came out of the, he had to go through we talked about, got to go through all that combine stuff, got to come through the draft. You don't really get an off season. You're reading a book. You're trying to get the playbook, all that, new coach. So I'm excited for all these rookies coming into next year, but cannot be mad at the way Javon's been playing, especially having to move him a couple different places.
Yeah. And obviously Josh Jacobs is arguably the best player on this team this year. We talked about he's grading out as the third best running back in the league within 2 points, PFF grade wise, of the top 2 backs in the league, which is Saquon Barkley going for the rushing record, and then also Derrick Henry, right? So with that being said, Matt Schneidman had tweeted this out. Josh Jacobs' biggest fan in Green Bay might be Rich Bisaccia, who coached Jacobs with the Raiders. Bisaccia already knew what Jacobs was all about on and off the field. Now everyone in Green Bay is seeing it too. And we got a couple of quotes here. Quote, off the field, he's got a tremendous sense of people, Bisaccia said recently. He's got a character about him that can understand, have empathy for other people's stories and other things that they've been through. And so when he sits in somebody's locker or is in the cafeteria, he's been through an ordeal himself growing up homeless. So I think he has the ability to relate to a lot of different things that players may go through. It says, as far as football goes, I still think we're just scratching the surface with Josh Jacobs. In this building, we're all just learning about what the young man's makeup is. He is a real deal running back. He's built to carry the ball. He's built to catch it. He's built to protect, and he loves football. He loves the grind of practice. He loves the grind of mental preparation. He loves the grind of playing in games. What you see from him in games is the way he practices. That's the way he practiced when we were together before, and that's the way he practices now. And I think because of the example he set in practice, they have gotten a certain amount of respect for him and for what he's going to do in the game. So, again, your teammates are always watching. You can fake fans out. You can fake knucklehead fans like us out every day, right? It happens all the time. But you cannot fake your teammates out. You can't fake those guys out in the locker room, right? You just can't do it. They've got to know that you mean what you say and say what you mean all the time. And Josh Jacobs is that dude. There's no two ways about it. So, pretty cool hearing high praise from Rich Bisaccia. We got Tim joining us now. Tim, I don't know how much of that you heard. Did you hear that entire thing from Josh Jacobs there?
Just about, yeah, for sure.
Okay. It's pretty cool, man, to hear Bisaccia actually pull the curtain back a little bit and talk about him in the cafeteria, talk about him on the practice field, talk about how he's been through some hard times growing up and how he relates to the younger players on the team is just really cool, man.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And, you can tell that, Rich had a big hand in bringing Josh Jacobs into this organization. And, we know Josh could have probably signed with a lot of teams. There's a reason he probably leaned towards Green Bay, and, he's a Packer now. So shout out to Coach B. Thank you.
Yeah. And also, Emilio, he's the reason that Keyshawn Nixon is pretty much a Green Bay Packer too, it sounds like, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And, brings that kind of mentality. I know we were on him. We haven't been happy with it completely. We had kicker talk, all that. We've been through all the phases of it. So, just what a guy he is, talking about how true Josh Jacobs is as a person, and being able to bring in Keyshawn, keep him in, say, hey, I'm here for Rich, and he wants to hang around, even if it's not your coach, right? I mean, you could be playing offense and Jeff Hafley could be your favorite coach, right? You could hate Matt just because of what he makes, Monday what he makes you do, but Hafley's your best friend. You can tell him anything, ask him questions and all that, and that it just kind of happens on a team. I love how great of a person Josh is, really.
Yeah, no doubt. Rel in the chat says Seahawks defense since their Week 10 bye has allowed 15.5 points per game. Really cool nugget there. Jason Y in the chat said, what does it say about our drafting that our two best players were acquired through free agency ? I think that's a fair point. When you look at how our best players on this roster came through free agency, at least our two most recent ones.
Right.
We know the draft's a crapshoot. We know that, right? It's pretty cool, though, that when Goody takes a swing in free agency, think of all the free agents he signed. And he's signed quite a few big-name free agents. Who has he signed that we go, man, he really missed on that free agent? I can't think of one. I could be wrong, but I can't think of one. Recently, Xavier McKinney, freaking home run, right? A++. Josh Jacobs, right? That was this offseason. Absolute home run. If you go back to when he signs Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith, home run, had one of the best pass rushes that year, right? It just seems like when he takes swings in free agency, now he might not be as aggressive as some people would want him to be, but when he takes swings, he knows what he's got. And I think that really has a lot to do with you've got these players on NFL footage as opposed to just the college game, right? So you're getting a true scouting assessment of these players and how they play against these current NFL players. So I think it's cool. All right, let's see what else we got here. I can't remember what's the next tweet. I've been tweeting out some NFL footage, so I got to be careful what we have on the screen here. This was a really cool quote. This just shows Tucker Kraft maturing. Matt Schneidman tweeted out, Tucker Kraft was asked today about his pregame incident with Kirby Joseph. Quote, I'm going to drop it, actually. It's over. It's done. Just going to move on from that. Not going to stoop down there anymore. I'm not going to talk about our opponents anymore. I'm just going to talk about us because the only thing that matters is the guys in this locker room. So it's pretty cool to see Tucker getting a little more mature there in that regard.
Yeah.
And I personally like that approach. I don't know about you guys.
No, I love it. Don't get don't argue with idiots. They'll drag you to that level and beat you at it, right? So don't get caught up in this hype with these trash talking guys from the Lions, guys that have no idea how to act as winners because they haven't really been in that position before. So they get caught up in the extracurriculars and all that nonsense. And I think that was some of the most valuable lessons we learn in life are the ones we learn the hard way or learn them real time in person. And I think this game against the Lions was an eye opener for Tucker Kraft, and I think a lot of guys on this team. And he's got the right attitude, right? Worry about the guy next to you, the guy in front of you, guy behind you. That's who matters. You're playing for this team, this town, this organization, and that's where your priorities need to be. And that way you keep a close-knit bond with that locker room that you have because guys stick together and you're not worried about all that outside noise. And, you take that power away from an opponent that's trying to get in your head and talk a little razzle dazzle, trying to knock you off your game. If you're not trying to hear it and you're focused on, next man up and the guy to my left and the guy to my right, that's how you win championships, man. You stick together and it's strength in numbers. So I love that attitude personally. I think it's great.
Yeah. And I think there's a time and place for chirping. Absolutely. But you do it in between plays when the refs aren't looking and all that. And then you go out there and just show them on the scoreboard is really the only way to make him shut up indefinitely. Yep.
Yeah. So Rob Demovsky actually tweeted this out. I quote tweeted it, but it's officially could clinch season, and I'm here for it. All right. So we're going to hear more and more about that every week as we get closer to the playoffs. What Rob said was the Packers can clinch a playoff spot this week. All right. NFC clinch, Detroit playoff berth, Philadelphia playoff berth, Green Bay 9-4 at Seattle, who is 8-5. That's going to be Sunday night. It says Green Bay clinches a playoff berth with a Green Bay win plus an Atlanta loss or a tie plus San Francisco LA Rams tie. So really what you're
Playoffs?
what you're looking for here is a Green Bay win and an Atlanta loss, and we pretty much clinch a playoff spot. That's pretty darn cool, man. We got, you're talking about after this week having 3 more games. And if you could clinch a playoff berth with 3 games to go, you had a pretty damn good season, man. So kind of cool.
I see. I got confused. When I first read that, when I was looking at it, I thought it meant like San Francisco and LA had to end in a tie. It's like, man, I guess it's could clinch season, but we are walking a line right there.
Yeah. I think it says an Atlanta loss or
an Atlanta loss or tie. Gotcha.
Yeah. So you notice I just steered clear of the San Francisco LA Rams tie thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Just walk away from it. Yeah.
Let's focus on Green Bay getting a win and Atlanta losing. We're in the playoffs, right? So,
yeah. Super Bowl winning GM, right?
Exactly right. Super Bowl winning GM Terry Fontenot, as Michael Lombardi refers to him. So, all right, so just wanted to hit on that real quick, and let's see. I think I had something else here. Oh yeah, this was interesting. Let's talk a little. Let's make fun of the Bears here for just a second. That good with you guys? And I want the chat to try to help me here. I asked on Twitter for someone to confirm this. I put Dayum. All right, that's Dayum. Is this really Rome Odunze's father trashing Caleb Williams in the organization? So check this out, guys. We're going to click on it here. Black Mike Dicka on Twitter. You got to love it. Look at that shit. I love Twitter, boys. I'm just telling you, I'm hooked on it. I just think it's awesome. He tweeted out and said, Rome Odunze would have 1,100 yards on any other NFC North team. And James Odunze, if this is truly Rome Odunze's father, said 1,500. All right, so sounds like there's trouble in paradise up there in the or down there from your all's perspective, Tim, in the Windy City. What do you guys think about that, man? I'm just glad that we don't have anybody's family members on Packers Twitter. If anything, they defend the players constantly, right? You see, like Christian Watson's dad defending Jordan Love. You see him defending Scoot, right? And this. To have someone's father, if this is his father, and again, someone confirmed. Yep, here we go. Drew D in the chat confirmed. Sports Illustrated covered it. So, man, interesting. You guys have the floor. What do you think about that? I don't mean to laugh.
All I have to say is
the Bears still suck.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is the fact that I'm glad we don't have to deal with a dad trying to buy stock in the team, and then a dad also cutting on our offense, not moving the ball around and dishing the rock, and especially the fact that we have you've run the numbers. What is it? A number 2. We have a solid number 2, a couple number 3s. I mean, it's not even
We've got 2. Actually, we've got 2 solid number 2s,
2 2s,
a good 3, and
edge
actually.
4.
Yeah, a good 3 and a probably about an average 4.
I'll take that. I mean, and Rome's what, the 3rd there? So
yeah.
I could see it. I definitely could see it. And the fact that it is his dad is even worse. I mean, that's just not something you want to get into. And you already have to worry about enough of the players saying something or doing something on their own Twitter. Then you got to worry about the family too. It's like, how far do you got to chase that out?
Yeah, definitely. And let's see here. Jason Y in the chat says, I thought the Bears GM said they were going to take the North and not give it back. Oh, boy.
Sit your butt outside.
That's right, Ryan Poles. Sorry about it. Hate to hear it, bub. Not working out the way you planned, huh? That's a shame. That's a real shame. In the meantime, think about bear down. Think about this, guys. As that's going on in Chicago, right? You got a wide receiver's dad basically saying Caleb Williams is a bum and their offense sucks, right? Look at what's going on in Green Bay right here. Rob Demoski tweeted out, Jordan Love and several of his Packer teammates surprised 8 kids from the Better Days Mentoring Organization for a holiday shopping night at Dick's Sporting Goods today. Each one received $300 shopping spree. Let's check it out here.
You guys for coming out. Thank you to Dick's for helping us out with this. I think it's going to be a pretty cool experience for you guys. You shop with me and my teammates here. Brought a bunch of the Packer players out. So, Apple Watch.
Guess what? I'm
Yeah.
gonna be a football player just like you.
Okay.
Here we go.
Is that your song?
Here we go.
Here we go.
That's that love shirt.
I'm gonna grow into it.
Yes, it is. That's too much.
I like how little man said I'll grow into it. That's a frugal, smart shopper right there. He said I'm gonna go ahead and buy this a size big. I'll grow into it.
Let me get the XL, please, Jordan. Can you sign this on the way out? Because I'm growing into this by the time I hit high school.
I love it. I love it.
My favorite part, though, he turned around with that Jordan Love shirt. Here we go.
Here we go. Here we go.
Oh man, he knew he hit the jackpot. There he is. Love it, dude. That's
the Bob too. He knew it. He knew it.
We need to get that as a drop, and we'll zoom in, just him going, "Here we go." Here we go.
He came over there and was like,
"Here's the guy."
That's exactly right. Oh man, I love it, dude. That type of stuff and this time of the year really gets me fired up, man. I just think it's awesome. So, all right, let's start this deep dive here. Actually, before we do that, let's hit the playoff picture real quick. I know we kind of hit on it just now, just a second, but we want to keep our finger on the pulse as we continue to move forward to the playoffs.
Playoffs?
Here's the current playoff picture. All right. AFC, the 1 seed is the Kansas City Chiefs, the 2 seed Buffalo Bills, 3 seed Pittsburgh Steelers, 4 seed is the Houston Texans, 5 seed the Baltimore Ravens, 6 is the LA Chargers, the 7 is the Denver Broncos. Okay. Let's move over to the NFC. The number 1 seed, the 12-1 Detroit Lions. The number 2 seed is the 11-2 Philadelphia Eagles. The 3 seed is the 8-5 Seattle Seahawks, who we are playing this week on the road. The number 4 seed is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They just stole that number 4 seed away from the Atlanta Falcons, who now drop out of the playoffs as it currently sits. And the number 5 seed, you've got the 11-2 Vikings, who are absolutely humming right now. The 6th seed, of course, is the Green Bay Packers at 9-4, and the 7th seed is the Washington Commanders at 8-5. It's pretty darn cool, guys, that we're going to Seattle this week to play the Seattle Seahawks, and then we may turn right around and play them again here in a few weeks in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty neat. What do you guys think about the playoff picture? Anything you want to add there?
I think the game against Seattle is going to be a great tune-up. I really do. Another tough road environment, much like Detroit. A team that I think we would all agree Seattle is probably slightly better than their record indicates. I don't think they're a pushover. I also don't think this is an opponent we should be afraid of. But this is what you're looking for here, grinding out your season, man. This will be a good tune-up. playoff type atmosphere. And yeah, like you said, man, for all we know, we'll be seeing them in a few weeks again, playing in the NFC playoffs. So I think it's great. I liked how the schedule is kind of rounded out. We got a couple divisionals to close out the year, but we got to handle business here on the road in Seattle for sure, coming off this Detroit loss. So I think it's a good tune-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it has to be. With them, with them having to travel, it's going to have to happen again. It's if we play them in the playoffs, you're going to have to hop right back on the plane. So whatever your preparation is this week, put it in the back of your head because you might need to use it again. And I think the only issue I see is having to beat a team twice, even though it's not a divisional opponent. Going in and beating a team twice is tough, especially, back to back within a month period, probably. So that's my only worry, but I think that I would rather play at Seattle than, at Tampa or at Philly. So I'm pretty happy with kind of where we're nestled right now.
Yeah, I do too, man. I think we're in a good spot. And again, all you got to do is stamp your ticket to the show, to the dance there, and anything can happen. Let's go to the chat. Rel in the chat said we need the Vikings to lose at least one more divisional game. And if we win out, we can snag the 5th seed. So that's kind of what's on the table there. Jason Wise said, I can totally see Baker taking down the Vikings. If that was the matchup right here, I'm with Jason. I could see Baker Mayfield knocking off the Vikings at 11-2, especially them having to go to Tampa, right, and be on the road, because we know Minnesota plays pretty well at home. At least it seems like they do.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. Go ahead, Emilio.
No, I was just thinking that's why I'm saying I'd rather stay nestled right here against Seattle, because Baker is unpredictable. Like we could beat him. We also could get worked by him, I feel like. And I really don't want to go play the Eagles right now. We can worry about that later. Let's just kind of get there first, see who's going to be, the worst, because we might need to go up and play the Lions and, not even need to play the Eagles. So I'm really happy with where we're at right now. I think we just need to win out and kind of keep hammering along.
Yeah. Rel in the chat says we can be either a 5th seed or at best, a 5th seed at best or a 7th at worst. To me, it feels like we've got a legit shot at the 5 seed. I believe that. But it's kind of feeling like we're going to settle in at that 6th seed if I had to put money on it, right? Probably
things could be a lot worse. I could be a Bears fan.
You could shuffle a little bit. You could rise for a week or two. You could drop for a week or two. But I could see them settling at the 6. But we'll see, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Drew D says Seattle has one of the best home field advantages in the NFL. Amen to that, man. The 12th man they do not play games up there, man. They're all about it. 2-0 for this in the chat said, I want the Lions in the playoffs so bad. Let's go around the horn with that. I completely agree. Give me a 3rd shot at the Lions, especially with the way the officials played a big role in that game. Come on.
Yep. That's exactly how I feel, Tim. Thank you, because that's all this team needs is just one more thing to get them fired up. Especially we're playing for the playoffs, a young team fired up. They beat you twice. You see them putting the brooms everywhere. That's all the Lions talk about is that and their one banner they hung up in the building. And then now they're over here just running their mouths. I think you want them back 100%. I'd rather play Seattle, and whatever happens with Tampa and Vikings, go play the Eagles, and we'll go handle the Lions.
Yep, I'm co-signing that. I think we do to Detroit what we did to Dallas last year in the playoffs. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, really would, man. Let's see. Biz 1987. Try to stay in the 5 or 6 spot to get past the wild card week. Then it doesn't matter if you face the Lions or the Eagles, in my opinion. I agree. If you have whether it's the Lions or the Eagles you're facing, those are the 2 best teams in the NFC, in my opinion. It's going to be a tough game either way. When you look at kind of the outcome of the games, obviously it took the Lions all the way down to the very last play of the game and a whole bunch of really, really close referee calls and decisions for them to beat us by 3 points with no time left. And then if I remember correctly, the Eagles, what did they win by? What was it? It was less than a touchdown, wasn't it? If I remember correctly. Yeah. Let me pull that up real quick.
I'm pretty sure the Lions have only won to the NFC North teams by 8 points. Like the past 3 NFC North games, the Lions won by less than 8 points or some crazy stat like that.
Yep. Yeah, and against the Eagles in week 1. And listen, guys, that might as well have been 2 seasons ago. I get it. Teams change so much throughout the course of a season, but they only beat us by 5 points. And we, both teams had to travel. I'm not saying that they had any kind of advantage over us, but we know things are a lot different when you have to travel internationally. And if you were to say, which would you rather have trying to get your mind right for an international game, the younger team or the older team. I'm probably going with the older team because they're going to know how to handle that a little bit more. They've had more experience maybe going across the pond to play in England or Germany or what have you. So, yeah, I'm with you, man. I think we got a shot. I think we got a shot at either of these teams. Again, Detroit beat us by 3 points. Philly beat us by 5. All it takes is 1 or 2 explosive plays at the right moment, an interception or a ball bouncing, or like Christian Watson, that fumble on the sideline, that very well could happen to an A.J. Brown, or it could happen to an Amon-Ra St. Brown. And next thing you know, that score is just flipped. All it takes is just getting hot at the right moment. There's no two ways about that. So
it's so true. I mean, how many times do you see plays like that one you're talking about where he just fumbles it out of bounds and we don't even worry about it? It just
had it in the right hand too, right? Had it in the right.
Had it to the outside hand. It's just one of those things. I like what his pop said. Papa Scoot was on his pod talking about that, and he said, Christian wasn't going high and trying to hurdle to get extra yards. He was trying to avoid his knee getting blown out by these dirty ass Detroit Lions defenders. That was his position, and I thought it was great. It's just one of those fluke plays. I don't even really put that on Scoot. I don't think he was being reckless there. He was just trying to protect himself and make a play.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's see. 2-0 for this says Packers, Bills, book it. Boy, that would be a fun. The 2 smallest markets in the league.
Oh, man, I can see Roger Goodell's head exploding right now.
Dude, that would be absolutely awesome. That would be so cool, man. To have the Green Bay Packers and the Buffalo Bills playing in the Super Bowl. Obviously, the Bills having never won one, so much on the line there. And the Packers having an opportunity to be one of, if not the youngest teams in the league to win a Super Bowl.
Yep.
Shoo-wee. That would be – how do you think we would match up against the Buffalo Bills? Think about this. Think of the important aspects of the game, right? When you talk turnover differential, we're definitely protecting the ball a lot better now than we were 3-4 weeks ago, right? We're starting to get that under control, especially at the quarterback position. Josh Allen, on the other hand, he's just a big play waiting to happen, obviously, but he'll also turn the ball over and make stupid decisions from time to time. You've seen it the other night, basically not knowing, hey, we've got 2 or 3 plays to pick up a chunk of 15. Instead, he's trying to get it all in one play. Next thing you know, they lose the ball game. So what do you guys think about that? Bills, Packers, how would you feel about that matchup if it did come down to the Super Bowl?
What do you got, Tim?
I probably feel better about that matchup than a couple other ones. I would say this: the Josh Allen factor is legit, like you said, Clay. I mean, with the guy, he rushed for 3 and threw for 3 the other night or whatever it was. I mean,
that's one to himself.
The guy's a walking scoring threat, so that's certainly something we'd have to account for defensively. I do think our offense against their defense matches up relatively well, and I think we could certainly put some points on the board, and it would be an entertaining Super Bowl to say the least. But we all know the league's not going to let anyone out of the AFC except for the Chiefs, so we might chalk that one up right now. Unless we get an upset, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Well, I used to always tell my Bills buddies, what's it stand for? Boy, I love losing Super Bowls. But besides that, I mean, I do like them, but they're frustrating sometimes because Michael Lombardi was talking about how they're really a nickel defense. They're super light. He said they only have one guy over 330 pounds. So being up in the cold, being, able to stop a run, stop all that, I think we could really churn Josh Jacobs out on them. And also they're kind of light on the offense as well. They're trying to run those 2 tight end sets, but that's not always working for them. And, you bring in, older receivers, things like that. So they're trying to put it all together because Josh Allen's in his window, I would say for sure. And it would be a battle. And I think it would really be a good game, but I'd have to pick the Pack. I think we could run them out of it.
No. That's a great point when you talk about matching up against the Bills. It's a great point. Let's see here. John in the chat says Dan Campbell is a sideline puppet. Ben Johnson runs that offense. A freaking man. And listen, Ben Johnson going to be gone after this year, boys.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait to see how the the Detroit Lions respond to that. Because that's one thing they have not had to deal with yet. I think there's a decent chance that Aaron Glenn will be gone as well.
I think so too. Have you heard him talk in his presser? I was going through, there was a YouTube short of like him talking about Jordan Love, and he, like, the way he carries himself, the way he talks about it, gave Matt LaFleur a lot of props. I mean,
he's a real
going somewhere for sure.
Yeah, I like him a lot. You could tell his players respect the hell out of him on that defense, man. I mean, look at what he's doing with all those backups, right?
Right.
And what he's still accomplishing. And I know we scored 30 points on him, right? Not many people are talking about that right now, but again, the name of the game is to win the game and do what you got to do at the end to put yourself in a position to do that. And he did that. There's no doubt. Let's see. Your Biz in the chat says, bring it, Bills versus Packers, anybody but the Chiefs. We know with the Chiefs, boys, it's not just the Chiefs you play. My God, man, there was 3 holds on that one quarterback scramble on 2nd and 8 the other night. I was screaming at the TV like, how do they keep getting away with this, man? This is unfreaking believable. And it's literally they froze the frame during the replay, and the announcers got quiet and didn't say a damn thing about it. So they were just like, yeah, let's just keep talking, right? Here's a guy. That's all they got. That's all they got. So Bill, anybody but the Chiefs, because again, it's so difficult to beat the Chiefs with the way that's officiated.
Right.
I really do think the Chiefs and the Lions, they've got something right now where it's just like they seem to get all of the calls right now. It's really, really strange to me, but at the same time, maybe it's how their coaching staff is prepping the officials. That's a real thing. And if you're constantly a coach that's just bitching at the refs and never buttering them up, never praising them, never giving them tape for the next game, I could see, let me put it this way, and I'm not trying to dog Matt LaFleur. You guys know how I feel about Matt LaFleur. He's the top 10 winningest coach of all time in terms of winning percentage, right? He's right there. If he fell out of the top 10, he's right there on the cusp of being inside the top 10. But I could see him being that guy, like, I don't care about the officials. I'm just going to coach. I'm going to go for it, And I'm telling you, man, it's a huge, huge deal when it comes to making sure you're getting at least your portion of the calls to go your way. That's why I'm going to continue to use Twitter the way I use it. I mean, we were putting out tweets showing those penalties, and I know some fans, and they'll remain nameless because they're absolutely miserable people. It's just, stop complaining about the man up. We got our ass kicked. It's like, you have no clue what we're doing as a fan base to try to shed light on, look, if they're going to continue to get these calls, we're going to get loud and show, look, you got every single call in your favor. And I'm telling you, you tag in the NFL officiating and you raise an awareness for that, it makes a freaking difference. You can bet your ass that these officials meeting with league officials every week as they're getting ready for the next slate of games. Hey, guys, got to watch how you call this one. The heat is on us right now, right? They got a lot of eyeballs on us. That stuff freaking matters. And when we're throwing tweets out, that's literally getting over I think it was like 1.2 million views. You're making headway. One of the tweets I put out, and it's not me, it's just simply, here's what happened. I didn't do anything special. Anybody with 2 brain cells that rub together can put a tweet up like that. But it's the Packer fans coming in and going, yep, here you go. Look, be aware of it. I'm telling you, it matters.
Yeah, the only recourse we have with the officials is to get them reviewed and get them suspended. They don't fine officials for terrible calls or not calling penalties, but they can be reviewed and they can get hauled into a league office and the crew can be suspended, and then we don't have to see them on the field. So the more noise you make, the better,
I got some advice for y'all. Take 2 weeks off, then quit.
I wouldn't see a better week right now than to do that, Tim. Let's just fire them all, get some replacement refs up in Seattle, and just
no.
Let
Wait
this
a
thing
minute.
go to work, man.
Wait a minute. Well, last time that happened, we had Russell Wilson throwing the only game-winning interception in NFL history. So no, we don't want replacement refs at all. No, thank you.
Man, I was going to pull up a quote here. It's from Bobby Dillon. I don't have the exact quote, but I'll paraphrase. Many people don't know that Bobby Dillon, one of the interception leaders for the Packers organization, he was blind in one eye. And they said one day somebody asked him, one of the officials asked him, like, are you really blind in one eye? He said, yeah, I am. Like, what are you going to do if you lose the other one? He said, I'm going to become an official.
Oh, we're going to give him some.
Another one, too, I'm trying to think of what the quote. It was Norm Van Brocklin. So this is way back in the day. I heard this on an old Steve Sable NFL films from like the 70s or the 80s. And they said that, back then officials didn't make the $200,000 they make now. We just found that out the other day because listeners were pointing that out. And one of the officials had passed away, and his family wasn't prepared to withstand the funeral costs and all this and that. So the league was taking up money for him. And Norm Van Brocklin, being the great human being he is, they asked him, they said, hey, so-and-so, he was an official. Would you like to donate? He said, we're just asking everybody throw in $10. It was something like that back in the day. And he said, here's 20, bury 2 of the SOBs. Dang. So Norm Van Brocklin, though, if you guys don't know, John Madden, when he was a rookie offensive lineman with Philadelphia, his earliest stage of learning the game at the NFL level was watching film with Norm Van Brocklin. He said he used to sit in the back of the room and he'd be watching film, and Norm Van Brocklin called him Red. And he said he caught me in the back one day. He was like, hey, Red, come up here and watch this. And he said, I learned more about football, him just pointing little things out, right? What they call him, something Dutchman or something like that. So, but he was a fiery dude, man, fiery dude to play the quarterback position back in the day when you had to be tough. There was no flopping back then, that's for sure. But that's going to do it for hour 1. For those of you listening on the pod, we'll see you on the other side for hour 2. We appreciate y'all. All right, welcome into hour 2, everybody. Let's keep this train rolling here, man. The chat has been on fire. This has been awesome. Trying to see if there's any other ones that we missed here. Oh, I like this one. Drew D says, if we want the Chiefs to get knocked out, we have to get Taylor Swift to break up with Travis Kelce. So here's what we're going to do. A-Fam.
I don't listen too much Taylor Swift.
A-Fam, you handsome devil. We see that mustache, bro. We need to get you to reach out to Taylor Swift, all right? You're going – that's your mission. I don't know if you're married or not. I apologize if you are. It doesn't matter. The Packers are more important than your marriage, sir. We need you to call Taylor Swift ASAP, all right?
Well, no, come on, Clay. They're not going to – her era tour just ended, bro, just in time for the playoffs, just in time to have every game at home, put her up in the box, have all the Swiftie views while we're there. So let's see. We'll add up all the Swifties viewing all the playoff games. The only bad thing is they get the first round bye, or else we'd have another couple 100 million watch that first playoff game, and then roll it right into the Super Bowl, get us a 3-peat, and then – we'll go check that box, and then we'll be squared away.
I don't listen too much Taylor Swift.
Tim's face that entire time we were talking Taylor Swift was priceless. I almost took a picture. He was just like this.
He's like, please.
Please, let's put me out of my misery here. Put me out of my misery. Prince in the chat said, Hussey got suspended. I don't think he did. I didn't hear that. Did you guys hear that?
I've heard several rumors that the crew was supposedly suspended. I have not been able to confirm this, so – a bunch of people repeating the same lie does not make it true. So if anyone's got actual proof that this happened, I would love to see it, because I don't know. We haven't seen that in a while, right? I do know that's, like I said, I think that's pretty much the only recourse, right? You can get enough complaints, and teams can file with the league office. They do a review. They, look at it probably the same way we look at film, right? 3 or 4 game saturation. Look at calls and no calls, and if they think you're full of crap, then they can suspend you or remove you. But I don't know if that really happened, though. I haven't been able to find any confirmation.
Holmes said, yes, I read the ref got suspended by the league.
Really?
Yeah,
that's
crazy. Maybe, but it's probably because Clayton was sitting there under the fire just feeding it oxygen, trying to get he is just trying to cook this dude in the pot. Yeah.
The whole time, man.
That's it. So you keep the gas down, then what are they going to do? If you have that many people, problem is like we weren't able to get that out 5-10 years ago. Like you weren't, like you talked about it with your buddies and then it was over. Now with Twitter, with X and Twitter and all that, we can. That same thing gets passed around. Everybody sees it. It's over.
I would just ask Holmes, where did you read this? Like, give us a link or a site, because it does make sense, right? Do you think the NFL would want to just like scream to the world, "Hey, we suspended our officials from Thursday night's game"?
Yeah, but we have to put it on. Like, we have to actually write it down physically and notify.
They did a little press release and it got shoved to the back of the storylines and buried somewhere. So, I'm not saying it's not true. I haven't been able to corroborate this officially.
Yeah, and listen, man, as we used to say back home in Harlan County, Kentucky, never let the truth get in the way of a good story. You know what I'm saying? Let's just roll with it here. So, Prince in the chat, hour 2. This hour separates the men from the boys. It does. I just took a quick glance on Twitter. I didn't see anything about Hussey and those officials getting suspended. Again, it doesn't mean it's not out there. Just a quick search while we were live here. I didn't see anything. So if you guys find it, let me know, DM it to me, something like that. But, let's see here. Joseph in the chat. God, family, and the Packers in that order, unless it's the Super Bowl. Amen, sir. Amen. Right. Hey, let's talk some pass rush. Y'all want to do that? That sound good?
Do it.
Yes. All right, so I'll put a tweet out here, and then we're going to share some next-gen stats on NFL Pro. So this tweet, I said Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness continue to improve their pressure percentage. According to GPS tracking from NFL Pro, Rashawn Gary leads the team comfortably at 13%, while LVN is now at 9.5%. Pittsburgh Steelers pass rusher TJ Watt is currently at 10%. So Gary has a full 3% lead in pressure percentage over TJ Watt this year, who many people think is the best pass rusher in the game, right? Again, a lot of chipping going on both Gary and him. You got to watch the tape to get a true evaluation. But the fact that LVN now is about to crack into the 10% mark, guys, it's huge. Now, you guys know we did a deep dive last night and continued with the defense. And the positions we came up with that we felt like were needs, and this is all strictly based off PFF. This isn't our end result. This was just here's what PFF shows. So now what we've begun doing, and I'll have a much more detailed version of this later on when we get to the offseason. There's real football going on right now, so we don't want to dive into this too deep. But as it sits right now, we were saying we need an edge defender. We need a three tech, a defensive tackle, right? We need a center, unless Elton kicks over to center. And I feel like we need the linebacker of the future to go along with Edger and Cooper if indeed they do let Quay Walker walk in free agency. Again, he may stick. He may be here. We don't know. That's just based off of the PFF evaluation. That's how we felt. And we also felt like we probably needed a slot corner if we're going to keep Keyshawn on the outside moving forward, seeing where he's adjusted really, really well playing on the outside. So with that being said, with LVN about to crack into that 10% mark, and according to PFF, LVN's horrible, right? But then you look at the pass rush percentage, the pressure percentage and pass rushes. It's like, okay, when you crack that 10% mark, you're one of the better pass rushers in the league. So what's most important there, right? The full aspect of the game, is it just the pass rush? Again, LVN, this is his first year as a quote-unquote starter, and it just begun because we traded Preston Smith earlier this year before the deadline. What are your guys' take on that and the fact that LVN is just 0.5% behind TJ Watt right now in pressure percentage, and also Rashawn Gary leading TJ Watt by a full 3% there?
I think it's exciting because we always want our first-round picks to work out. We want them to be out on the field right away. We didn't get that with him. He was our highest first-round pick in the past 5 years. I just want to maybe shoot that out. That's probably wrong, but we spent a high first-round pick on the dude. We want to see something out of him. I'm happy that he's starting to grow into it, and I think that his
highest first-round pick since Quay Walker, right?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
and I think he was higher than, wasn't he like 13? I want to say he was like 13 or something. So
yeah, you're right. He might have been higher overall.
Oh, here we go. Round one, pick 13 in 2023. That is a early draft pick for us. We are not normally picking that early, so we want to. You always expect the top 10 to hit, right? So I think that a top 13 would be ideal for him to hit, even if it takes a year or two. I say give him that full rookie contract, see what you got out of him. But I love that he's trending in the right direction.
Yep, definitely. When you look at the pressure percentage here for the entire Green Bay Packers defense, you want to filter out the noise. Keyshawn Nixon, Isaiah McDuffie, Xavier McKinney, Eric Wilson, Quay Walker, Edgerrin Cooper, Javon Bullard. Obviously, those are guys that are going to be firing from the nickel position, from the linebacker position, whether it's Will or Mike. They're going to be – that percentage is going to be much, much higher than others, right? There's no doubt about that. So you got to kind of filter that noise out and go, okay, who's rushing the quarterback down in and down out for the most part? Rashawn Gary, 13% there. You've got Lucas Van Ness at 9.5%. Then you've got Kingsley and Igbare at 8.9%. You love to see that. If you can get both those guys over 10%, you really like the fact that you've got a swing edge there that can come in rotation. and get just as much, if not pressure, on the quarterback. Next is TJ Slayton at 8.8%. All right. Then you've got Devontae Wyatt at 8.6%. And then Brenton Cox Jr. at 7.8%. Preston Smith at 7.1%. Kobe Wooden at 6.8%. And then Kenny Clark at 6.6%. So when you look at the interior defensive line too, we'll kind of take it all into consideration here. Who is your best pass rusher on the interior? Right now, it's TJ Slayton from a percentage standpoint. Next, it would be Devontae Wyatt. Now, the problem with Devontae Wyatt is we know his run defense and his tackling ability is a little suspect, right? So that's what I mean by he's not that true dominant 3-tech. He is someone who can rush the passer, and that's important. Might be the most important thing. But I don't think we need to stop looking for our next, 3-tech. That guy that can be Kenny Clark in the first few years where Kenny was just dominating, right? So
yeah, I agree. I think that's what separates TJ from Devontae too, is that TJ's a little bit better tackler and better against the run than Devontae Wyatt. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so too. And I was just trying to see that. I mean, we're asking TJ to be a run block. What are we asking him to do? I think that he's doing decently for being split down the middle. But yeah, we need Devontae if he's going to excel at pass rush. You got to excel at it. If not, I mean, we've talked about, we need to find a 3-tech, or somebody needs to step up and show Jonathan Ford, if you're out there, if that's something that's going to be something, let's hammer it, right? Let's give it a shot. I feel like that's, not a bad thing. Let's figure out what we have. I was trying to pull up LVN snaps because somebody was asking in the chat, does he go to the 3-tech? Dwayne asked if he goes to the 3-tech like in college. All I've seen for D right tackle and D left tackle, he played 6 snaps on D left tackle, like the left tackle on the defensive end, and then he played 10 on the right tackle. So it's not like he's getting a lot of reps there. He's sitting at right end and REO, so right edge outside, I believe, and then a couple of right outside backer. So he's hanging out on the right side, and he's only gotten, looks like, 10 attempts in at right tackle. So I don't think that's something we're trying to chase. I think that it should be something we should try. I wouldn't be opposed to giving him a whole game in there to see what happens. But then you're asking, all right, who's going to step in? Then we're going to be Rashawn and Kingsley. Then our resets, Mosby and Cox. And are we ready for that? Is that who they want out there? I just don't think they trust the pairing.
Right. And I think what you're going to see is when you go to dime sets, and you're in a situation where it's like a 3rd and 12 or a 3rd and 14, I could see them kicking him to the inside in that 3-tech.
Yeah.
That what we call your NASCAR package, right, where you got just all defensive ends rushing the quarterback. I could see that being the case from time to time. But the reality is he is the right end on this team. And typically when they spell him and take him out, they kick Gary over there to right end and bring in JJ and Igbare at left end. That's how they like to do that, right? And then when they take Rashawn out from time to time and they leave LVN in, that's when you'll see like a Aaron Mosby or a Brenton Cox Jr. get shuffled in at left end. So they really like that hockey line. Like you always say, Emilio, they like to keep those guys rotating in fresh. And that's kind of how that usually plays out. So yeah, to answer your question, Dwayne, I haven't noticed him at 3-tech much. I wouldn't expect that moving forward. I really would, especially when you play teams like Detroit where you'll be in a 3rd and 12 and they'll run the ball, won't they, Tim? They ain't scared to run the ball.
They're not afraid of it, exactly. And on 4th and 6 too, they don't care. They'll do it again for you. I mean, we've seen him move LVN a little bit. He's been shaded to the inside on some of those overload looks, but nothing like playing a pure 3-tech or anything like that. I don't think they're gonna go that route with him.
Yeah, I don't either, man. I don't either. Let's look at Rashawn Gary real quick. All right, take a quick glance at his numbers over the last couple of years. There he is. Again, that's me when I'm looking through the blinds, waiting for the pizza delivery guy to pour down the driveway out there. That's me. Like, where the hell's that pizza at?
That's Clayton going, I said extra pepperoni.
Right, man.
Where are the cannolis?
Got a stuffed crust pizza from Pizza Hut the other night, boys. Let me tell you something, man.
You were hurting, Linda?
Oh yeah, extra pepperoni, extra cheese. They got caramelized onions. All right, so we did the caramelized onions, and we did mushrooms. I was hurting bad, Linda. I
You
was
said
hurting.
extra pepperoni, extra cheese, and the onions.
I said,
wash your hands, wash your butt, man. That's it. That's all.
I said throw a little extra cholesterol on that too.
Yeah.
Need a little bit more of that. So, Rashawn Gary, let's focus in on quarterback pressure percentage. Okay, 2022, 19% was his pressure rate. Now we know tears his ACL, right? Last year he comes back from that. He finished the year at 17.4%. We know this year
comes back from the ACL like an absolute machine. Let's not let anyone forget about how quickly he got back from that massive knee injury.
Yeah.
Continue. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good, man. And then this year, we know every pass rusher on the team took a huge dip, right, on pressure percentage. And we've pointed out that's probably the reason that you're a top 5 rush defense in terms of yards per carry allowed, right? You're really keying in on the run. You're not getting overly aggressive. Now, this last game, what did we do? We got aggressive, and we seen them gash us for at least 2 explosives, one of which went for 20 yards because it was either Carl Brooks or Kobe Wooden that got way upfield real quick. The edge defender did the same thing. That's the problem with being too aggressive. It's give and take. So I wouldn't be surprised personally if you see the pressure percentage start to dip down a little bit as we really key back in on, hey, look, when we play these running teams, gotta protect our rush lane. Don't get too aggressive, right, with this one gap approach. But again, I'm still leading the team at 13% this year. I thought that was interesting just to take a quick look at that. Anything you guys want to add to that in terms of Rashawn Gary here with the pressures? And we could pull the pressures too if you guys want to watch a little bit of the tape. But what I thought we would do is look at Lucas Van Ness over Gary personally. I'd like to see his last few pressures.
Yeah, no, I'd like to look at LVN too, but I think Gary's just climbing back into it, man. I think he's just saddling up, ready for a run here. I think he's just like everybody else in this team. We somehow get hot at the end of the year. Maybe we need to hammer that out next year. But we've gone through a coach change and a new defense, and I'm not mad at his production that he's putting out there.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so that was Gary. Let's drop that down, and let's take a look at TJ Watt. We were talking about TJ Watt, right? Gary's got 3% more pressure, higher pressure rate than TJ Watt. And at the moment, check out TJ Watt here. 2022, only 11.6 pressure percentage, okay? 2023, it jumped to 13.7%. And then this year, it's back down to 10%. So 13.7%, right, was his best pressure percentage in the last 3 years, including this year, okay? Now, if you go back to 2020, he was an absolute dog, 17.6%, much like Gary was there, right? What was it, 2 years ago? But, I mean, you're talking about him, his pressure percentage slightly going up in 23 and then dropping significantly in 2024. The point is, I think we would all agree TJ Watt's one hell of a pass rusher, right?
Right.
Like nobody's looking at his pressure percentage and go, oh man, what's wrong with TJ Watt? Most of the time it's because of the sack numbers being so high for TJ Watt. Well, let me tell you something. The sack numbers typically are indicative of them being able to scheme him a free shot on the quarterback or a singled up, opportunity to just beat a one-on-one and get to the quarterback. We, showed earlier in the year, Rashawn Gary obviously was being chipped third most in the league. Far above TJ Watt on that list, by the way, and Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons. And again, you go back to the look at what Greg Cosell said. If you want to know the true value of a pass rusher, you look at the tape and go, how many resources are teams allocating to stopping that pass rusher? And again, that list was, it was a few weeks ago now. I haven't seen anybody update the list yet, but he was being chipped third most in the league. And again,
like Dwayne says in the chat, what's the chip rate though? You got to consider those factors.
Absolutely do. Yeah. And again, with TJ Watt earlier this year, when we looked at those numbers, he was like 5 or 6 spots below Rashawn Gary in chip rate. So that explains why his sack numbers are up a little bit more than Rashawn Gary's, if Rashawn Gary was warning a little more. And again, they move TJ Watt around a lot. And you've seen us start to do that with Gary like 4 or 5 weeks in the season. We're putting him in the middle of the formation and having him kind of do a little bit of touch spy and occupy those double teams and let other guys get freed up. So
I'd like him to bring back his crossover, the little hezzy up front, and I think we need to bring that back a little bit more often. I mean, that's what's going to put a little fear, a little bit of a little bit of distraction in the O-line, get them all kind of confused. How often do you see Gary standing up over the center, That's
love it.
something I think we need to dabble in a little more.
I agree. Especially if you're running a stunt or something, you have them line up there, let our guys, run a stunt, and then back off the edge or something.
Even if he starts there, just imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't even need to call a play for him being in the middle if you don't want to. But as we break the huddle, have him standing there, just kind of messing with him for a second, then jump and get back to your spot.
Let's drop Quay Walker back and let Rashawn mug the A gap or something.
There you go.
I'm there. I love it.
Then all he has to do is hop over a gap over Kenny and go.
Yep.
Heard it from a fan right here.
All right, so here is LVN with his pressure percentage, and we've actually got it broken down by game. So he struggled bad with against the Lions there last week. There's no doubt about it. Only a 5.9 pressure percentage. But look at his game versus the Dolphins, 26.7% pressure rate. And then the week before against the Niners, a 20% pressure rate. The week before against the Bears, 11.1% pressure rate. And then the first matchup with the Lions was 9.1% pressure rate. So let's go to the pressures in the Dolphins game, and let's just hit the tape here real quick. I'll see if I can get this pulled up to where we can actually see it somewhat decently at the internet.
Brett doing here? I'm in town to play the Dolphins, you dumbass.
Let's see if we can get this to pop up. I got more windows open than a trailer park right now, boys. So it's bad.
A lot of plays on that Dolphins tape, though. It's taking a while to load.
That could be it, Tim. I don't think it is, but that could be it. See if we can get it to refresh here. I really like to see those in that Dolphins game because he did. Look at that. Oh, no.
Too many pressures. Too many pressures to display. That is just –
That's what it was. He broke it. I think he broke it, boys. He broke it. Let's go to I think if it sits on that screen for a while, too, sometimes that will happen. So
time's out, yeah. I've had that happen to me.
Let me see if Green Bay will pull up. If the leaders on Green Bay's will pull up, we'll just go to LVN's pressures that way. Hopefully this will work. We go to LVN, Lucas Van Ness, quarterback pressures, 18. Come on, baby. Come on, NFL Pro.
Come on now.
It's been sitting there just as long. I think it did time out. All right.
That's terrible.
I'm going to try to open it in a separate window. You guys talk for a minute there on this pressure rate.
Yeah, I think Coach Lind over here has been talking about how LVN is an edge, and I think he said against run teams and QBs that can run.
Yep.
Which I think is very true. And then Dwayne was talking about the chip rate. And then Joe was talking here. I said, I wish we would just use a linebacker to attack the QB. That's his only job. Not in
the Hafley system, though.
Talk about a linebacker that probably deserves a little bit of burn. Mr. Hopper, can we get him just a little snuggled onto the field there? I mean,
see, there's a good point. Like, there's a guy you could probably say, put the rookie out there and just, tell him to cut loose and, go after the QB.
I wouldn't be mad at it. I really wouldn't be. We took him, third round? I would not be mad at it. He's on special teams. He's played in just about every game, I think, on special teams. Not getting any reps besides the end of the game a couple games ago. So I like how he plays.
I do feel like those two go off hand in hand, right? Like we talk about interior pass rush or our edge rushing. It's like, man, when you send those Mike Fires or you send a Will Fire, it seems to add momentum to the guys inside. We saw Kenny get a sack against Miami off of pressure by Quay Walker.
Yeah,
coming up the middle. So maybe there's some logic to that.
Yeah, and I'm not saying take him out instead of McDuffie or Wilson at this moment, but I'm saying cut 4 snaps from McDuffie and 4 from Wilson and, put whatever Coops was going to be, and let's just see where he's at it. Thank you, Coach. Yeah, and let's get Ola Home Depot in here, and let's let him cook. I mean, we don't have Javon. If you want a new slot, put Oladipo in there and just go to town. I mean, that's it.
Look, Coach Len over here cooking, and Jonathan Ford, and Kalen King. All these guys need reps. Let's go.
You get a rep, and you get a rep.
You get a rep.
Wouldn't it be the time, though? Like, we get one win, or, I mean, even if we're chasing it, we're in a good position, playoff-wise. Obviously, we still need to win and clinch it, but would you be opposed to getting a couple of those guys in, trying to get them reps now, rather than Week 18 against – the Bears against the Bears, just nonchalant or whatever we're doing with them?
I think that's a good point. Here's LVN, his 4 pressures against the Dolphins. You can see he's playing right in. I love this set right here, too, where they go really wide with the D tackles, really fans that offensive line out. And if they're going to go with a 5-man protection, that center is just sitting there blocking air. You absolutely love it. Let's watch LVN, though. Just a straight bull. Slide back inside. Let Carl come right up the field. Great job block shedding right there, right?
That's exactly how Rashawn had a sack last game. Was get upfield on Sewell, shake him, and get underneath.
Yep, so there's a sack for LVN here. If it auto plays, we should see all of these. There should be 3 more pressures from LVN. Again, right in, wide 9 set. Love that they got, I think that's Carl Brooks on that side playing a 4-eye. So it really, really makes that tackle have to kick way out, and maybe the back even helps. Let's see if they get any help on this play. No help. Oh, look at the stunt. TE, you see it?
Yep.
So tackle jams outside. LVN coming on the little rip move. There's the pressure. Made him get the ball out quick. Great job by McDuffie on the backside, making the tackle.
Fought through a hold really well there. Nicely done.
Yes, he did. Yeah, and again, that we've talked about that at nauseum. The call now, the rule book is if you use a rip move, they can hold, and it's just wild to think that they can grab people by the throat and everything because they.
Yeah, it's basically them saying, "Oh, if you're beat, then just hold them."
Right, exactly. So you'd like to be able to coach the rip move out of them. If there's one thing every year when we watch football and we go through an entire NFL season, there's always 1 or 2 things I come away with going, man, that really changed this year. That was significant. That's the one thing that sticks out to me the most is they are not going to call holding at all. I don't care. Like in that Kansas City game, it wasn't even a rip move, and the dude was on his back. The guard was on the defensive tackle's back, and they still didn't call a hold. So they're damn sure not going to call it against the rip. So here's the another pressure. This is in a goal line situation here. Let's check it out. Where's LV? And so here you go. Here's a good example. Actually, no, he's wide 9. It was hard to tell because they got that extra tight end in. So he's actually playing what we would call, most people call a wide 9. It'd really be a 4, a 6. So you would call it a 7. Some would call it a 7. Others call it a wide 9. It is what it is. But you see LVN over there. Takes on the tackle, right, straight up. Look at him drive right to the quarterback. So he's got a hell of a motor. I love that Gary kind of forced the quarterback up in the pocket right into that. You see Gary coming around the edge.
Yeah, and this is what we talk about with Rashawn, right? Things that don't necessarily show up in the PFF grade or the stat column, but contributions to the game and to the team. And I love watching this, man. Like you said, LVN, high motor, like a guy that never quits on a play ever. He's going to play to the whistle every down, every snap he gets, and you love to see it.
Yeah. It was showing this as a pressure too. Let's see. I think this is a Brenton Cox makes a play here, but let's see. Where's LVN on this play? Is that him standing right there? No, that ain't LVN.
No.
Where's he at? They may have made a mistake unless he's on the inside there.
No, that is him standing up.
Yeah, you're right. So look, straight bull rush, right? There you go. So again, holding his own, man. Holding his own. And then here's the one pressure against Detroit. Let's take a look at it real quick. You see LVN out here, wide 9 again against that left tackle. This is against Skip, right? Oh, I like it. See, there's a rip. So you see the tackle's holding him, right? Evidently in the rule book now, that is not a hold because he used a rip move. So you actually seen a slap. It looked like he swipes and then uses a rip. Watch him slap the outside shoulder, bang, and then use a rip. But again, nice pressure there, right? He's right on him according to GPS. And again, what result of the play? Incomplete, right? I can see the look on everybody's face. They're like, how is that not a hold? I know it's frustrating as hell, right? That you can just, there it is, hold. But now the other hold in the middle there with Carl Brooks, let's see what happens there. See Carl Brooks shed right here?
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
Beat like a drum.
Did he use he used an arm over. He used a swim. So this should have been called a hold. See him hooking? Look at that.
Both refs are conveniently looking at LVN.
Yeah, right here. Look. It's just crazy, man. So anyway, we're over that though. But again, LVN starting to heat up. You see 4 pressures in one game there against the Dolphins, and obviously getting the sack in that game as well. Pretty cool, man. So I'm liking where we're sitting. Again, we're trending in the right direction. The big thing for me though, let's hit on a negative aspect, and the reason that I feel like we truly do need a 3 tech. Let's go to Kenny Clark's numbers here, and if you look at Kenny Clark's pressure numbers, pressure percentage, he is at 6.6%. Okay, so again, we've talked about some of that is from the way that we're playing with that touch spy early in the year, right? So hopefully that'll continue to get better as they maybe turn him loose a little bit more. But again, the name of the game is to win the ball game. I could care less about the stats. This is what we got to gauge it off of, though. Look at here. 2022 under Joe Barry, 11%. 2023 under Joe Barry, 11.1%. First year under Hafley, 6.6%. Okay? This is his lowest pressure rate he's had since he's came in the league. Okay? So, take that for what it's worth. His pressure percentage is the lowest it's ever been. Now, when you talk about the run stops, and a stop essentially is you prevented I can't remember the exact definition, but it's something along the lines of you prevented the ball carrier from making a significant gain. So it's probably like less than 2 yards or 2 yards or less type thing, right? When you look at his run stops, because people are asking, well, how's Kenny look in the run game? His run defense grade is just as bad as his pass rush grade, according to PFF. Then when you look at the stops in 2021, 38, 2022, 35, 2023, 35. This year he's got 22. So he's probably going to finish fewer than he had, last year. So it is what it is, right? That's just something that it's going to be part of it. Moving forward, is he done? This is the wall. Kenny finally hit the wall. We know he's been playing for quite some time. Started really, really young in the league. Many people would look at him at his age and go, oh, he's just whatever he is, 28, 29 years old. Yeah, but he's played an extra 2 years compared to some other players, right?
Yep.
So you'd really kind of look at it like he's almost like he's 31, 32. So that comes into play too.
It's true. Kenny was a guy too, early and often thrown into the fire his first couple of years. So he's had a shorter learning curve than most. I would agree with that. So I think you got to put a little bit more wear and tear on those on them tires there with Kenny Clark.
Yeah. Yeah, you burn them up real quick with the six sacks back-to-back years, first 2 years, and then drop to 2, 4, and then
then you had 3 years in a 34 jam basically, and now going to the 4-3. So you're asking more than average for a guy like that, I think.
Yeah.
All things considered, I think it could be a lot worse, honestly. I mean, Kenny's not like a liability on this defense. It's just he's not where we'd like him to be, which is where he was when he was younger.
If we can get him to 8.5%, 9% before the end of the year, are you happy with Kenny this year?
I mean,
go ahead, Tim.
I'm not upset. Upset with him. I don't know about happy, but how do you make a Packer fan like me happy other than bringing Lombardi home every year?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. If I were to answer that question, I could give a rat's ass about the sacks, man. That's just me. I want consistency. I want consistency in the pass rush, right, with the pressure percentage, and I want you to be fundamentally sound stopping the run. And again, let's do this. Let me hop back out real quick, and I'm going to see if we can find some of his run stops, because I feel like he's played well these last 2 games. He only had 1 pressure against the Lions, but you guys know Kenny had a really good grade there against the Lions, right? So he's had 22 stops this year, and I'm just going to go to the tape here real quick, and we'll get it on the screen in just a second. Let me just make sure that I can pull this up. If we go to the Lions, so here you go, bang. We talked about what run stops are, right? It's basically you prevented the ball carrier from having a significant gain. So it's like, think of it like 3 yards or less, something along those lines, right? You actually stopped the ball carrier from gaining yards or significant yards. So you see here against the Lions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stops in that game. All right, so let's start with this one, and it should roll automatically all the way through this. Let's see what Kenny did in the running game. Again, he only had 1 pressure against the Colts, or against, I keep wanting to say the Colts, the Lions, but you also notice he had a really high PFF grade. Let's see if we can figure out why. Here's Kenny. Let's see what tech he's playing pre-snap. To me, it looks like he's going to be playing a 2-eye, so he's on the inside shoulder of the guard, right, at left defensive tackle. I love how he leaned his body into that. Did you notice that?
Yep.
And look, run laterally, bang. I mean, he clobbered
the
running back. Great play there. Single-handedly.
He got skinny as soon as the snap happened. He just turned and got in there.
Yep. All right, so now on this play, that's him right here, right? So once again, playing 2-eye. So people were expecting him to play a 3. He's not even playing 3 tech. They're allowing, for the most part, Devontae Wyatt, Carl Brooks, those guys are playing more of a 3-tech than Kenny. Kenny's playing more of that nose still.
Which lends more fuel to your point, right? We need a 3-tech in Green Bay.
Yep. And here's a little misdirection. Look at Kenny at the point of attack. Watch him chase this down. Oh, Marty, what a hit. Could you imagine taking that hit seriously? Watch Kenny the whole way. He's being double teamed, right? Watch him fight through the double team and watch this hit.
Hello.
You know he felt that.
Stuck him.
All right, so there's another
dude got up like
on my knee.
This might be my favorite. Look at this right here. Kenny playing that.
Is this the one? Is this the sack?
I think it is. Let's see. I don't know. It might be a running play. Watch Kenny. Look at Kenny get the thing I'm noticing, Emilio, Tim, him getting skinny, getting sideways, right, splitting that gap.
You think that's because he's gap? You know, we're playing one gap, right? So he knows that he's got that gap. How fast can I get up and through that gap to make a play?
Yeah, this was him and Rashawn Gary. That's what this play was.
Yep.
Okay, I remember this one.
Bang.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
right. It also has to do with what you're saying too, Clay, is like getting off that blocker, right? Like if I'm skinnier, it's a smaller surface area. I'm a smaller target. I can squeeze through. I mean, he puts himself right in position there, off the blocker, and makes the tackle.
Right. And one squeeze through too. I mean, how can you get your hand to block a dude when you got one arm on him as he's already passing you? So you know you're going to try to force holds. We're going to get, and Skipper got blown up there. Watch Quake come in there and just get a little ding on him too.
That's what we were talking about. Why gap integrity is so important, because a lot of times if you just get that pressure and beat your guy, even if you're not the one making the play, like you talk about trying to make an arm tackle or get off a block, you already know you got 2 or 3 guys coming in behind you.
Right. And I'm not mad at Keyshawn right here on this play either. Just go in there and just sell your body out. You took a crack back to the back of the shoulder pads. That's a block in the back, but no problem.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. We didn't see anything.
We'll take it. You took out what is that? 2 or 3?
Yeah, 2 linemen, and you took out the one who blocked you in the back. Perfect.
Yeah, we'll take it. So Keyshawn occupied 3 blockers. Beautiful.
And notice our boy Gilbert Brown 2.0 there, TJ Slayton. Watch him absolutely annihilate the offensive line. That offensive lineman reaching around on the ground. You see him?
Yep.
Oh, God, what was that? He just completely blows him up.
I love it. If I ever open up a nightclub, TJ Slayton's my first pick for bouncer,
no doubt.
For sure. That is a definitely get off the bus type of dude right there.
Yeah. So again, you're wondering why Kenny graded out so well against the Lions. It was definitely the run defense in that specific game. It feels like it anyway. Here we are now. He looks like he's going to play a little 4-eye. So he's out here wide. This looks like a little bit of a NASCAR. Oh, check this out. This is awesome. So you got Rashawn Gary wide 9 right. Kingsley Enagbare is currently standing up in a 4-eye on the same side, right? Over here you got Kenny lining up in a 4-tech, and look who's standing up. Right now, Devontae Wyatt's standing up.
Yep.
How cool is that? Devontae Wyatt standing up. That's freaking awesome. And then you see Enagbare going to get in the 3-point stance, and here comes Wyatt. All right, just a quick pass. So not a whole lot going on there. I wonder.
Could you imagine
Hafley's willingness to mix things up with this defensive front, which is something we didn't really see with Joe Barry at all.
And now watch Kenny on this play. Kenny's playing a 4-tech. It's going to be a quick smoke screen, right? Sidearm pass. Look where Kenny's at. Watch who makes the tackle. Look at Kenny. Bang.
Yep.
Let's go, dude.
Fired up too.
Kenny had a game. Oh, God, I hope that continues, man. And Tim, like what you just said, and I appreciate the compliment there saying that I called it, but like I just now noticed, like, hey, go get a 3-tech. Spend some resources on getting a true 3-tech. Let Kenny continue to play nose. And it's not that I think Kenny is this awesome player right now. It's obvious he's having a down year. But the point is, he's under contract. You already made that decision. You bought the groceries. You got to put the damn things in the fridge. You can't just say, oh, well, we'll go get some more groceries.
Left the milk in the truck, so we'll
yeah. We don't want to do that.
Right. So the point is, go get a 3-tech. Devontae Wyatt will be back next year. He may pop, and you go, hey, you know what? Let's re-sign him to a deal, right? If he doesn't, you covered your rear end by drafting another 3-tech and potentially the 3-tech of the future, and then you get into next year and you can make a decision. Okay, we're not gonna keep Kenny for that 3rd year, right? and we could probably cut him, free it up, do whatever you got to do to free up some cap. And now you've allocated some resources to that true 3-tech, and you can continue moving forward, building your roster. So,
yeah, I mean, we've committed this much and invested this much in Kenny, right? We drafted him, brought him in here. Why not build around him? We already signed the extension, put some pieces in play. Let's get another season or 2 or 3 at best with Kenny out there doing what he does best, and then move on from there when the time comes and have somebody kind of waiting in the wings.
Yeah,
he's our longest tenured Packer.
Yep.
I mean, hey, he deserves a jet of respect. I get that he's not doing it right, but let's not cut the dude's legs out from under him. Let's give him the rest of the game.
Kenny the last Ted Thompson draft pick on this team?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is.
So, I mean, because we all won't even remember the conversation of cutting on Kenny if he goes out and tears up the next 4 games, gets us in, makes 2 big plays or whatever. You get those kind of plays in the playoffs, that recent memory is going to carry him through. I think, a couple of nice performances coming into the playoffs and in the playoffs would carry him through the offseason, and, we wouldn't be on his back as much.
Playoffs?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
All right, so Kenny on this situation is a 3-tech right here. So here's Kenny in the 3-tech. Let's see how he handles it, okay? He's in between the guard and the tackle. Quick punch. Great job holding your gap integrity right there. Yeah.
Right. So he's capable at the 3-tech,
no doubt.
but he's just not the dude you want, as your 3-tech.
Yeah. So here he is again in this is, we call it a 3-tech, outside shoulder of the guard, right? He's right here. Okay.
Yep.
Let's watch the play. Double team, getting kind of pushed off the ball. Watch the shed. Great job, dude.
Yep.
I mean, literally,
he doesn't allow himself to get washed out of a play. That's something that comes with experience, I think. A lot of guys will get blocked and they'll get blocked into oblivion and be looking backwards. Kenny's kind of like, he occupies a block and he's not intimidated by it. He's not gonna freak out and allow it to get him washed out of a play, and that's why he's able to kind of hang around and then still make a play on the ball carrier.
Yeah,
I think that's one thing they've worked on, just setting a better base. When they're engaging you, we just got to kind of hold that line, especially if we're going to be running this 4-3.
Yep. And that comes from experience. That comes from years of playing in the NFL. Not everyone gets that right away. I mean, Kenny Clark certainly didn't get that right away. That came with development and time. And, we're seeing that now. And I do think at times, down year or not, I think, as fans, we take Kenny Clark for granted sometimes because he's doing a lot of these little things that go unnoticed. And it really does help us.
Yeah. And again, he's not had a good year. Nobody's saying that. I know there's going to be some, Kenny's gone. Nobody's saying he's had a good year. We've looked at the numbers, but I'm telling you, you can't take a whole team, a whole defense, and everybody's pressure percentage drops significantly and not sit back and go hard. They're doing something different this year. It doesn't mean at times they don't pin their ears back and go, right?
Yep.
But they're definitely keying in on the run a little bit more. And probably, again, focused on, hey, try to protect the rush lane integrity when it comes to the quarterback potentially scrambling, take away some of the throwing lanes. And what's the benefit from that? You're forcing the quarterback to throw the football, right? While not allowing him to get great looks, you're trying to take away throwing lanes, and you're really minimizing the running game. What happens? You end up being top 3, top 5 in takeaways. That's what happens. And thanks to, God, I can never remember the name. I got so many names in my head here. I want to give a shout out to somebody, and then we're going to hit the chat real quick and get out of here. We're way over. In our Patreon group, Joshua Dodge, keeping up with this on Chalk Talks, we're now up to 12 interceptions on the year, okay, with Keyshawn Nixon's interception this year. 10 in zone coverage, only 2 in man coverage. It's absolutely huge. So let's go to the chat real quick. Also, scan the QR code in the upper right if you want to join our Patreon group. Appreciate everybody in there. We're going to be giving away this week an autographed Lucas Van Ness jersey. Okay. Autographed Lucas Van Ness jersey. It's going to be a Beckett-style jersey. Autographed. Got the certificate of authenticity. Came from pristineauctions.com. If you're a member of our Patreon group, one of the 3 tiers, you got to be a member of one of the 3 tiers that gets you access to all of our chats in there, all that good stuff. And again, if money's tight and you just, hey man, I just want to be a part of the group, that's what the cheapest one's there for. That's what we were going to do in the first place. But we had people reach out and go, hey, I want to donate more. So we created a couple more for those that wanted to help the channel a little bit more. Also, if you're a YouTube member, that will get you in that drawing as well. So we will spin the wheel in the post-game show after the Seahawks game and give away that autographed Lucas Van Ness jersey. Appreciate everybody in there. All right, let's go rapid fire real quick from the chat. M. Smitty 1386 says, unable to find anything credible on the Hussey being suspended. Got it, buddy. And then Ron Sample said that was from that stupid NFC North site that spews BS. Ron, that site, that Twitter account has gotten everybody on this show right now, I promise you. It's gotten every one of us at some point. So
how dare you?
Holmes in the chat, I got deep faked about the refs. I guess. So there you go. Number one Packer fan. I get sick of YouTubers and Twitter experts recycling rhetoric that Gary is struggling. What if he is doing what he is being asked to do, and that's the result? A freaking man. Yep. Prince in the chat. Hopper couldn't be any worse than McDuffie in coverage. He used to be a safety. It is kind of strange. It's kind of strange, as banged up as we are, that we haven't seen more Hopper. But again, against the Dolphins, McDuffie, pretty damn good football game.
I think we might still have PTSD from the Tariq Carpenter experience, the old linebacker to safety, safety to linebacker. I don't know. I think they're a little hesitant.
Yeah, that's a great point.
That's true. I just would rather him. I'd rather see Hopper get burned on a Texas route. Because I know McDuffie gets. I mean, like, you know what I mean. That's
right.
all I'm asking.
Right. You want to see it to believe it.
I just need to know. Give me visual proof, and then we can move on.
I just need you to tell me that you're done with me. That's what I don't need to wonder. Fred McFarlane in the chat says, when we say we need a 3-tech, are we saying Brooks, Wooden, and White are not the answer? As of right now, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That could change, right? But based off of what we've seen so far, like Carl Brooks is our highest graded defensive lineman. Okay, here we are. We're going to go way over. I just want to hit it real quick. I apologize.
No, I think it's so true though. Brooks, Wooden, and Wyatt may not be the answer. They're options. They are definitely viable options, but I don't know if there's a bona fide 3-tech.
Let me give you an example here. Carl Brooks, right? He's our highest graded defensive lineman, and he falls in the 48th spot. So he's the 48th highest graded defensive lineman in the league with minimal requirements checked off. So you kind of filter that up a little bit. He's the 48th highest graded according to PFF. His pressure percentage, 4.8%. That's not your 3-tech of the future. Yep. As of right now. That could change, but as of right now. Kobe Wooden, 6.8%. That's just a touch over top of Kenny Clark currently. Devontae White, 8.6%. But like we pointed out, Devontae White is somewhat of a liability in the run game. Like when you find Devontae White on the PFF grade list, Kobe Wooden's a 50.6. And where's Devontae White? TJ Slayton's a 43.6. So Devontae White was slightly higher, right? Let's see here. Let me find Devontae White. He is thick. He's a 59.4 overall. So when you take all things into consideration, again, I'm not saying that Devontae White can't be a good pass rusher and Carl Brooks can't be a good run stuffer. But that's not what you're looking for in that dominant 3-tech. You're looking for a dude that's going to do it both. And the only way you're going to find that dude is if you continue to swing and try to find that guy in the draft. Or like we talked about, maybe you go in free agency this year and you go, you know what? Let's kick a little bit of the money down the road. Let's do a couple of restructures, free up some cap now, and go get someone like last year's Christian Wilkins that was on the market, right? And I don't even know what Christian Wilkins has been this year. But the reality is going into free agency – for the last 2 years, he was one of the best 3-techs in all of football. That's what you got to do. And I'm okay with overspending for great. You just never want to overpay for good. You're always willing to overpay for great. So that's what we're saying there, Fred. Again, it's early. Those dudes may pop. We may come back next year and go, hey, we got two true 3-techs. I hope that's the case. But right now we can't say that. Chris in the chat says, love what you guys do. Thanks for doing this every day. I need this. Hey, buddy, we appreciate you, Chris. It's a lot of fun, man. You guys are what makes this show great. No doubt. The interaction we got in the chat is, again, it's Packer fan total access. It's not Clayton total access. It's not Emilio, Tim. It's Packer fans coming together and talking about the crap that actually matters and not going on Twitter and being casual fans and spewing off nonsense and just joining the old. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. Biz 1987 said the improvement in run D this year has been great to see. I'm not as observant as most, but this D seems to usually play with more explosive demeanor. It's definitely something's different this year.
Hats to the ball too, definitely.
Yes, that's the big thing. Coach Lynn in the chat. Wow, that's awesome. Had not noticed Wyatt on the edge standing up. That's what I like to see. Very, very creative.
That ain't no problem. Well,
thank you, Coach F. Daryl in the chat says, I think it's cool how someone will get a LVN autographed jersey. Somebody will get lucky. Yes, like I said, Daryl, it's just a way for us to give back to those who are supporting the channel. So it's our pleasure for sure. Shout out to Darren Johns becoming a member here on YouTube. Appreciate you, buddy. And Biz1987 become a YouTube member. We'll make sure that you guys are on that Larry McCarron pinky wheel as we look to give away that LVN jersey come Sunday night. I got to get the cards mailed out. One thing about doing all the giveaways, I'm trying to do it just once a month with mailing the stuff out. So I appreciate y'all being patient. We don't get down to the post office much. So we'll get those sent out in the next couple of days for sure. But you guys got anything else, fellas? Anything at all?
Happy birthday to my pops. Happy birthday, Dad.
Hey,
celebrating the birthday today out in Vegas, doing it big. And shout out to my cousin Michelle too. It's her birthday as well. So happy birthday, family.
Happy birthday. Tim's just like Bates. Sometimes that site got Bates' dad a few times. He said he had to bring him up to speed on the internet. You'll have that, man.
that's terrible.
Clayton had to do it to me.
He not only rambled, but he rumbled and stumbled.
All right, guys, we're out. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. We'll be back in the morning at 8:30 Central Time for Good Morning Lambeau. Apologize for the inconvenience this morning. I know we had a bunch of people ready for the show. It was definitely on StreamYard's end. I usually don't like to blame other people, but in this case, it was StreamYard's fault. So we'll see y'all tomorrow morning. Everybody have a wonderful evening.
And we go.
Bye, guys.